Hello everyone and welcome back to Gran Turismo 7 and to the final round of the Trans Am World Tour Championship, the second season of Trans Am. And here are the championship points heading into the final round. Unfortunately, a title decider this is not. Ash has amassed 99 points so far, and no one else can topple that number this weekend. So Ash sealed the deal last time out, and now here we are all just racing for fun here. But there are still other championship positions to decide. There are only 15 points from second all the way down to 7th. So it's all to play for those positions. And for anyone further down who may not have done all the rounds, Tita has only done 2 rounds so far. So with a good points haul here, can get as high as second in the standings. Me personally, my goal, I'm currently second in the standings. I'm hoping to stay in the top 3. I don't know if second will stick. That would be amazing, but if I can stay in the top 3 in this final round, that would be fantastic. But we head out for qualifying. You can see it is absolutely pouring with rain. We are crawling around the circuit and still going off into the grass. There is absolutely no grip out here. For reference, a good dry lap time is a sub 1 minute around here in these Trans Am cars. 57s are probably the absolute peak for me. I can just about get into the 59s. So, you know, that is what a dry time looks like. So we'll see what we're able to do in these very heavy wet conditions at the moment. The rain indicator in the bottom left, well over 2/3 full. So yes, it is going to be a very steady qualifying session, as we'll be running at about 60% speed compared to what we normally would. But anyway, we very slowly make our way around the right-hander of turn 1. We don't really get to the apex there, and we just continue to crawl around. The rain's just getting heavier. The track conditions are only going to get worse if this rain continues to pour down. You can see in the weather radar on the bottom right, the rain showing absolutely no signs of letting up. It is going to pour down throughout the session, and as the sun slowly rises, we'll start to get an understanding of the pace where everyone is at the moment. But it's going to be a very, very difficult qualifying session for everyone to navigate as we head around the right-handed hairpin onto the back straight. Not that we're going to be able to get to full power until the very far end if we're feeling brave. There goes the banana on the right-hand side, getting through, and just better traction out of the corner, and goes very deep into the sweeper and off the road, and immediately throws that lap away. So it's unfortunate for Bananotto, and you'll need to reset after that one. We go purple actually there for a moment, but that won't stick. But unfortunately we were not able to improve on that lap, so we'll cross the line in P5 at best. We'll probably drop down further as we take a listen to everyone's reaction to qualifying in the voice chat.
That was a very interesting qualifying session.
Yes. It was. Banana. Oh, banana.
Oh!
He's sliding all the time.
Well, hey. Well done, man.
And so there we have it, the Banana Man himself. Bananotto RFD takes pole position. John Tita O second. Be a very awkward commentary if I had to read out everyone's names exactly. But anyway, there's the end of qualifying results. The 4th different pole sitter of the season from the 4 qualifying sessions we've had. Obviously we didn't do qualifying back at the Nürburgring, but nonetheless an interesting variety of cars and drivers taking pole positions. But anyway, Joke and Ferbs and Shadow choosing not to qualify for this one. They'll be starting from the back as we look forward to the race, and there'll be no pit stops required for this one. Just a flat out race to the end. You can stop if you want to for some fresh fuel and tyres. Banana Man starts on a pole position ahead of John Teeter in the Cobra, looking to gain some massive positions in the championship this round. Then attached in the leader of the two Camaros, the second of which lines up right alongside. It is Sparrow P4. Next it is Heafy in the Pontiac Judge, and then it is Jester in the C2 Corvette, one of the oldest cars that we've seen here. And then it's myself in the GT40 I've been running all season long. Then it is Joken in the leader of the two bosses. Another GT40 of Shadow lining up in 9th position, and Ferbs rounds off the grid in the second of the Mustang bosses. So that is how the grid looks ahead of the final race. A decent turnout, 10 cars on the grid, and we are ready to get racing here at Tsukuba Circuit. The rain is falling here at the start of the race, just like it was in qualifying. The lights are out, and we are underway. Slow and steady off the start, trying to ease on the power, and we get away reasonably well enough, and we'll try and find some space to use into the first corner. Shadow's gotten away very well, makes the move down the inside. We're left a little bit high and wide as we're trying to carry the momentum around the outside. We can't keep it on the outside of Shadow though. We drop one position into P8. Shadow has made that inside line work and must have got a fantastic launch off the grid to be able to get to that inside line from directly behind us. So Shadow's made that work and has gained a few spots up to 7th on this first half a lap or so, as we just carefully navigate the right-hander here. It's very treacherous conditions here. We're all just taking it slow and steady and trying not to make any mistakes, and trying to look for any advantage we can in these early stages, as Shadow is absolutely harassing the back of Heafy, who's on the back of Joken, and that just continues all the way up to first place, as it's a good run there for Shadow, making the move to the inside of Heafy. Not quite going to get there, not really under pressure ourselves. Heafy slow in a straight line there, so you got a bit of a wobble on into the braking zone, and Shadow makes the move up the inside. We're trying to sneak in there as well, but Heafy covers that one off as we swing to the outside, and we will slot in behind. Heafy might be getting a switchback, not quite, and I think Shadow's got that one under control. We have a look at a replay of the start. This is on board with John Teeter, who was very slow off the marks, and after taking second in qualifying will drop down into 4th, get swamped by the two Camaros on either side that were fairly quick off the line, and the Banana Man holds on to the lead as everyone finds their own position on the track through the opening squabbles, but decent enough from John Teeter there. We on board with now with Heafy, who is also a little bit slow off the marks, not terrible, and on the run down to the first corner, trying to look for some space to use on the outside, but not able to do anything at the moment. I think it is Jester on the inside getting the power down nicely on the exit, and Heafy has to slot in behind, so Heafy losing out a little bit on the start as well, as everyone starts to settle into a rhythm. There's Shadow already starting to put the pressure on, as everyone's trying to find the limits, find the exact amounts of speed you can carry through each of these corners in such low grip conditions. It's all a bit of a guessing game at the moment, as we wind our way through the opening couple of laps of this race. And the rain is also quite changeable, so you can get to the next corner and the level of grip you have can be significantly different to what you had on the corner before, with these sort of patches of heavier rain coming through that dump a bit more water on the circuit, as we see Shadow getting the run, and there's how Shadow got the run on Heafy. Just a bit of a slide midway down the straight. That's just Heafy trying to put a bit too much power down, and it is as simple as that. You have to be so careful. There's probably no one who's gotten to 100% throttle for any significant amount of time on this first lap, maybe no time at all, as we look on board with Shadow to see this start. And remember, Shadow got a great start at the Nürburgring, done the same here, and has made massive positions early on in this one, and placed the car well into the first corner, leaving plenty of room for the cars in front, making the apex nicely, and is straight on the attack. Bit of a wobble on the exit, but all under control, and immediately starts to put the pressure on Heafy. The visibility notably low, with the level of mist being sprayed up from the rear tyres of all of these rear-wheel drive cars, as the rain is absolutely pouring down. We look to the second lap of the race now, as Ash is going a bit wide there into the left-hander, and that could leave the inside open to lose 1 or 2 spots, as that is Teeter on the inside getting through for 3rd position. Ash drops from 2nd to 4th with that little mistake. We go back on board with myself looking to the outside of Heafy. Oh, bit of contact, as Heafy was a little bit slower into there than I was expecting. I was a bit late on the brakes, but Heafy manages to keep it on the road around the outside, and we're not going to continue to fight that one at the moment. No damage for either of us though, so we are all good to play on, and no harm done in the end, as we look to Teeter putting the pressure on Sparrow and maybe going for the move here into the hairpin, and it's definitely a bit of overlap on the inside. Is he going to be able to draw alongside fully on the straight, or is Sparrow going to hold on in the early phase of this one? There's so much time to be lost if you get held up behind someone who's not quite running as quickly, but Teeter not able to make the move, maybe down the inside into the sweeper. Not going to happen there, as Heafy gets the tail wagging through these couple of slight left-handers. We're off the road trying to go around the outside, late on the brakes, trying to get this move done on Heafy, as we go a little bit deep into the hairpin, trying to get it turned back to the right, outside wide on the dirty stuff on the outside of the road. But it's Joken who gets through on the inside out of nowhere, and up to P7 goes Joken. We do get through on Heafy, as Heafy's dropped into P9 now, but that was a wild little exchange amongst the 3 of us there, as we were out off the road trying to get the move done. Potentially a bit of dirty tyres and just braking on the inside line there too deep, and Heafy was getting the switch back, but Joken stuck the nose in and managed to grab all of us. So great bit of racecraft from Joken there to get through like that. Here's the onboard with Heafy, really sideways through the left-hander, and that judge is a little bit twitchy at times. So yeah, it is not surprising that Heafy's struggling a little bit in these conditions, as Joken, you can see there clearly with the right idea on the inside line and gets through. Heafy ducks back into the slipstream. We'll try again, as gets a little bit sideways again, and lets Furbs go through. So Heafy drops into P10 in the race now, running at the back of the field, but still plenty of action to play out. Furbs into the wall, just got a slide on mid-corner and hit the invisible barrier that separates pit lane from the racetrack there, and that was an unfortunate moment for Furbs. Here's the final replay of that little exchange. Joken just got that nose in on the inside, blocked Heafy from getting to the apex, and with a short run around the inside of the corner, Joken was able to nick both of those positions, and Heafy was left sort of stranded in the middle, not able to maximise the mid-corner speed. We look to John Teeter now, starting to really apply the pressure to Sparrow. Is there anything going to happen here on the exit? Will there be a change at 4 position as Sparrow goes wide, gets it out sideways, and John Teeter's through on the inside and up into 2nd position. That little Cobra working well in the wet conditions so far. We go on board with Furbs now, and this is just a little replay of that moment at the final corner. It was a fairly light graze, and I don't think there'll be any damage from that. So Furbs will be able to push on and continue on in this race. We look now to Ash, who's currently running in 4th position, but might be trying to get a move done on Sparrow here as they begin to battle it out, but nothing happening yet. Maybe down the inside into the sweeper. Ash has got the overlap and looks to have the move done into the sweeper. Nicely done there along the back straight. Ash just got the drive out of the hairpin to get it done in a straight line, and move up into the top 3. Sparrow drops into 4th position, still well in the game. We look back to Shadow, currently running P7, as Jokin makes the move around the outside into the hairpin. Nicely done there by Jokin, and Shadow doesn't make too much of an argument out of that as we are closing in, as Shadow gets a little bit off to the right on the exit, bit sideways, and we get a nice run on the other GT40. We're going to be side by side heading into the sweeper, and we'll try and swing this in. We're going deep, a little bit onto the grass, and Shadow holds on to the position as we have to drop in behind once more, and will remain in 8th position for the time being. But we had a good battle with Shadow back at the Nürburgring. Let's have a little run through the field as things stand, though. It is the Banana Man who still leads the way in the GT40. We scroll back to Tita, who runs in 2nd position. Bit of a gap, P1 to P2. Then it's Ash and Sparrow, all quite close together. Bit of a gap then back to Jester, running in 5th position. Then it's Jokin, pretty close behind. A bit more of a gap then back to Shadow, not too far though. That's myself in 8th position. P9 for Heafy, and Ferbs running down to the back, but closing in all the time with some pretty decent speed at the moment. So we're currently turning lap 7 of the race, and you can see the rain has cleared off for the most part. We're into the clear skies once again, and we're now into the very tricky phase of the race as Heafy gets through of trying to navigate the track in these sort of semi-wet, semi-dry conditions where we have to try our best to stick to the dry line. You can see the puddles on the edge of the circuit as we're purple even while being overtaken in the first sector, so that really does show the rate of the track evolution, and yeah, that is kind of crazy. But anyway, we head into the hairpin now, trying to line up a good exit, but I think Heafy's going to just have more and more pace once it gets drier and drier, so yeah, I think that might be the end of the fun part of the race for me, mixing it up with the others as we get it all out of shape into the left-hander of lap number 8, and we lose out to Ferbs there as well. So we've dropped into P10 as I'm just really struggling in these changeable conditions. Heafy though has a little bit of an off, and that allows Ferbs to go through. Ferbs up into 8th position, Heafy now down into P9, and we're not far behind, so you know, we might be able to do something here as Heafy's right on the edge there. You can see that rather defined line between the wet and the dry, and you really don't want to be touching the wet with your outside tyres on any given corner. We're looking rearwards at the front of the race. Leader now, John Tita, has closed that gap, and I'll tell you what, Ash is right there as well, and even Sparrow hanging around not too far off this group. So it looks like the Banana Man starting to lose a little bit of pace late in the stint here as the track's drying up, and John Tita is lagging around as usual, but closing in to the back of the GT40. But I think something will have to happen. You know, either Ash will have to get past Tita, Tita will have to get past the Banana Man as we go for a big slide. But clearly there's a slight lack of pace out of that lead GT40 at the moment. We continue to watch on with this lead battle as we see Ash getting close to the back of Tita through the sweeper, and Ash goes a little bit wide off into the grass and the gravel. That's going to allow Sparrow to get through, and Ash will have to do all the work again. So as Ash was really pushing to try to close that margin, just pushed it a little bit too far as Heafy gets the job done on Ferbs once again. So these two scrapping it out hard towards the tail end of the field. And oh, Shadow off! Into the wall goes Shadow, and Ferbs has to take a bit of avoiding action there. And I mentioned it earlier, these conditions are treacherous. Shadow just got out into the wet stuff, and there was no saving it beyond that point, and Shadow got some damage from that collision with the barrier. This is on board with Sparrow going down the inside of Tita and takes 2nd position from the Cobra and that was a nice move by Sparrow into the sweeper, full commitment, and did a very good job in that situation to get that move done. And well done to Tita as well. See that coming, give him the space, and this is Ferbs getting the job done on Heathy once again. Those two, the fighting between them is purely relentless. Looking back to Jester, who's gone straight ahead into the barrier, and that is a significant hit into the barrier there. Nose first, Jester pulls a bit of a three-point turn, reversing all the way back around onto the circuit to get moving again, and we'll carry on. Here's the onboard replay, and just tripped up on the curb a little bit, and the car got into a slide when sort of recovering from that, and then has to reverse it all the way back around to get things pointing in the right direction, and pulls away once again, and will carry on, but lost a lot of time out of that. Here's the onboard now, looking rearward from the Banana, leading the way, but Sparrow is really starting to put the pressure on, and Sparrow's yet to win a race in this Trans Am series. Maybe this could be the day, because Sparrow is looking quick here at Tsukuba Circuit, and is putting significant pressure on the race leader, as we've also got Ash and Tita in the background, not too far away. I love this rearward facing camera. We can really see the characteristics of Sparrow's car as it floats and wobbles around the circuit, but is carrying good speed through the corners, and has some decent top end on it as well, but no overtake for the time being. On board with myself once again as we continue to wind our way through the laps, and we're on lap 19 now, so round about the 1/3 mark at the end of this lap, and you can see we've set our personal best a couple of laps ago, and I'm really trying now to break into the 59s and break that 1 minute barrier if we can in this race. So that's my current target, and if I can do that, get a few laps in the 59s, I'll be quite happy with the pace in this phase. But the track is basically fully dry now. It's as fast as it is going to get as we continue on. It's still a little bit sketchy on the very edges, but as we race our way around to the timing line, it is a 59.7, so a fair chunk of the way into the 59s, and that is a nice lap right there, so I'm pretty happy with that. That's basically as good as my pace has ever been throughout any of the practice, but there's more important things at hand now, because look at Sparrow ready to go for the move down the inside for the race lead, as he can't quite get there. Maybe on the exit though, drawing alongside the GT40, and just gets the nose ahead as they now run side by side, left and right, as they head into the braking zone. Banana Man's got the inside though, as Sparrow's trying to keep the nose in all the way around the outside. This could be a great move if Sparrow can get this done, as they run side by side, and Sparrow's trying to just keep the nose in, as there might have been a bit of contact there. It was very close, but the fight continues. But Bananotto holds on, as Sparrow has to slot him behind. Couldn't quite get it done. It was a mega run trying to take that lead away, and I think it's only a matter of time before Sparrow gets this done. But now there's massive pressure coming from behind, because look at this, Joken is arriving on the scene as well. This is a 5-car fight for the lead here. This is intense stuff as Sparrow goes high and wide. Is that going to be an opportunity for Tita to get involved? Maybe Ash. Tita's a bit wide there as well. Ash trying to make the move down the inside, as Tita still trying to get down to the apex there. Ash gets to the apex a bit more nicely, and we'll try and get the run, and there might not be an overtaking opportunity there this time, but Ash has definitely got some pace going at the moment, as the Banana Man goes a bit wide there, and that could give the opportunity to Sparrow, trying to go all the way around the outside under the Dunlop sign. Mega move there from Sparrow to try and take this position away, but it still hasn't happened, and Sparrow still sits in second position. But there is no lack of trying from the number 46 Camaro around the outside again, as Tita's getting involved as well. But this is a mega move from Sparrow. Huge run along the outside towards the sweeper, the final corner, and Sparrow might be able to finally get this done. surely not around the outside here. Bit of contact as they bump and grind, and Sparrow takes the lead. What a move. And that is fantastic stuff from Sparrow. Tita trying to get involved now as well, as the rest of them all fighting it out into the first corner. And Tita still holds a third position, but a good run on the exit. Is there anything Tita can do here? Not now, but Ash making the run on Tita down the inside, gets the move done very nicely there. Goes a bit deep. Tita can't switch it back though. Ash just has that one covered. What a move from Sparrow though, all the way around the outside of the hairpin and the sweeper, the final corner. That was insane stuff as we look further along back on board with myself as we cool things down again. But what a move. That might be, I think, without a doubt, the overtake of the season from Sparrow there. That was incredible. Anyway, on board with myself, and I'm still pushing on for better lap times as we continue on through. We're a couple of laps on from our personal best a couple of laps ago when we finally broke into the 59s, and this lap marginally better so far as we are basically on our own. I'm just trying to maximize what I've got, and if anyone further up has some problems, we might be able to get involved. But in the dry, I just don't quite have the pace in these complete dry conditions. In the wet, I felt like I could keep up reasonably well. But anyway, we complete that flying lap. It is a 59.621, which I think tops basically anything else I've done throughout practice. So getting some decent lap times in as we see another change of position happening there between Ferbs and Heafy. Heafy now ahead of Ferbs as we see Jester coming in to the pit lane and will be the first stopper of the race as we have to go on board now with the Banana Man under pressure from Ash now as the battle for the podium places rages on. Ash third, wants to make it second though into turn one, gets the move done down the inside. We go on board in the car with Banana, and Ash has that move done. So nicely done there by Ash. Goes a little bit deep though on the exit, quite deep actually. We will go for a switch back here as we stay on board, but no opportunity. And Ash holds on to that one, so still able to carry some good speed around the outside there. Looking into the pit lane now for Jester, who will get a new set of soft compound tyres on. Remember, no tyre requirements for this race, so any pit stops are optional for fresh tyres and fuel. But there will be, I'm sure, some trying to go to the end with no stops. Big lunge down the inside though, on board once again with the Banana Man, and that's Ash up on the outside now as they run side by side into the right-hander, and you can see the size difference while we're on board here between the GT40 and the Camaro. We're looking at the driver's side door there as well, actually the two driver's side doors banging into each other as the GT40 is a right-hand drive, Camaro drivers on the left as Ash holds on to the position there. But that was a good little battle between these two, and there's another good run here, and sending Ash off the road there, and I think there may have been a bit of contact between Ash and the Banana Man as they both have to recover. Banana losing a lot more time there as we see a super slow-mo replay. Ash catching it right out sideways off the grass there, but is the replay down at the hairpin. Bananotto actually got the move done, and then Ash was able to sweep back through on the inside, and then here's he on board with Tita getting past both of them. It was hard to tell if there was contact from the inboard. It looked like it, but I didn't actually check exactly what that looked like from the outside. But anyway, we now see Heafy coming into pit lane in the Pontiac GTO Judge, and new set of tyres and some fuel go on board that car, and he gets rolling again, and then immediately disappears, and he explained why in the group chat.
Sorry, got up to get a drink during pit stop and bloody moved a lead I tripped on and pulled the power out. Stupid. FML.
So, good one, Heafy. That might be the most unusual retirement of the series, as we see Sparrow making the move on Jester, putting Jester a lap down for the first time in a while in Trans Am. It's not me going a lap down first. That said, Jester has made a pit stop that I plan to make later on in the race. But that's Teeter off the road, a rare mistake from one of the fastest drivers here, and that has allowed Joken through and up another position. So nice for Joken as we look back to Shadow, who's picked up a track limits penalty. Not something we've really seen too much here at Tsukuba Circuit, but you can get it at that little chicane, for lack of a better word. And that's what's happened to Shadow there, as Teeter makes the move back up the inside of Joken once more and gets through. Joken drops down once again. So yeah, a bit of positional changing and switching there. Is a big loser rear end there, and catching it very well as we're on board with Bananotto once again, and he brings it into the pit lane, and we will see this pit stop in low definition as a new set of tyres go on at the GT40. But anyway, back on circuit with myself, and again, not too much happening in my world. We are still just running at our own pace and waiting for things to happen, but we have to step aside for Sparrow, who rolls through in the race lead. We get the blue flags there, so a little unfortunate, but this is going to be impacting us from time to time for the rest of the race. We've got Teeter going through on the inside now. We're still being blue flagged, so we move aside again and the blue flags disappear, but it just was a bit delayed, and that's Jester going through. So I did this in the last season in the final round with Lounsey behind me. I had the blue flag thing at the top of the screen and looked back and saw the headlights, and yeah, it turns out it was a car on the same lap. So it's happened to me again there, as that time it was just the blue flag sign didn't disappear, and so I saw it there and looked back, and yeah, that was not a car on the lead lap. So that's a bit unfortunate, but anyway, yeah, that's how it is. But regardless, we carry on. We're past the halfway point in this race now, onto lap at 32 of 60, and yeah, we continue to contend with these blue flags as Ash is through as well, and we now take a look at Shadow, what's going on with our fellow GT40 driver, all the way from Norway, coming into the pits for a new set of tyres and some fuel for his GT40. So that's another car in through the pit lane. We will go a little bit wide through the final corner there. Shadow coming out of pit lane as we break into turn 1. Dirty tyres after being off the road, and we can't quite pull it up there. And if not for that, we might have had a chance of racing with Sparrow here, with Shadow here rather, as we get in towards the middle sector. Shadow goes a bit deep. We sort of follow him, and we can't get through. And once, yeah, Sparrow, I said it again, once Shadow gets back up to speed, there's no keeping up. So yeah, a bit of an off for us there, and we've lost touch once again. So a brief moment of almost not being last in this race, but wasn't to be. And we're still down in 10th position at the 9th position at the moment, because Heafy pulled his power out. But anyway, as we see Sparrow head into a pit lane, a Jester coming into the pit lane for a second time, Sparrow into the box, and fresh tyres and fuel going in for Sparrow, and we will be coming into the pits on this lap as well, taking it nice and easy because it is a bit of a narrow pit entry, and we will get a fresh set of the soft compound tyres on, and a load of fuel as well. Jester into the box, and a fresh set of tyres go on for Jester, and some fuel as well. We're into the box now as well, and we of course will get those tyres on and loaded up with fuel, and this will take us to the end of the race. We'll fill it up a little bit past the marker because that was rain affected at the start. We were running at fuel map 6 in the rain. Ever since it's been dry, we've turned it up to map 1, so we'll give ourselves a little bit of additional fuel, not too much, because if it rains later we don't want to be lugging too much extra fuel around, but we'll try and burn off as much as we can over the next few laps and prepare ourselves for whatever comes at the end of the race. But we're running well at the moment, haven't made too many mistakes. As I say that, we're off into the grass, and incidentally a few of the lead lap cars that go through, that is Joken and Ash going through, as we see here. This is Ferbs into the final corner, into the barrier there again as Sparrow goes around the outside. Not sure what happened there with Ferbs, just a weird slide on entry to the corner. We go on board with the Mustang boss, and almost like he pulled the handbrake into the corner there. That was quite strange. Or the engine ref's super high. I wonder if he just put it in first gear or something. I don't know what happened there, but that was a weird one for Ferbs. Not sure. We'll need to find an explanation. But anyway, we go back to this battle we touched on earlier, as Ash is on the back of Joken. Not much separating these two, and this is a proper Trans Am battle. Camaro versus Mustang. It looks like the Camaro has the better pace at the moment. Joken with the track position right now. None of these two drivers having made a pit stop yet, so this is a straight fight as we see it, as Joken runs second, Ash runs third, so podium places are up for grabs here as Ash continues to put the pressure on and is all over the back of the Mustang, but no way through yet. We continue to push on. We get into the 59s once again. It has been quite a while actually, not being able to crack that 1 minute mark, so we're starting to get our rhythm back once again and starting to push on once more, as we have to roll out of it there for Shadow, who puts us a lap down, and now we're a lap down to everyone with the exception of Jester. So yeah, that's a bit of a shame. I was hoping we could be competitive with Shadow here, because we had a lot of fun racing with each other back at the Nürburgring, but unfortunately that is not to be. And look at this, all of a sudden the rain is back, and that came out of nowhere, and just like that it's basically stopped again. So that was a short shower, but there will be more coming, and even so there's a fair bit of water on the surface already. So this race has just escalated rather quickly, and here comes the rest of the rain as we turn the end of lap 45, the 3/4 mark in the race, and we can't stop it into the first corner and into the barrier as we go, and somehow we get away with no damage, and that is a miracle. That was a fairly significant hit, so how we got away with that one I don't know, but I'll take it. And we have a very, very lucky escape there, as we take a look at a replay now. At this moment the weather intensified. By the time we got to the first corner there was no chance of stopping at all, and we carried a lot of speed into that very short gravel trap before the barrier there. So I don't know how we got away with that one. We were very, very lucky. But at the exact same moment Jester had a little bit of an off down to the hairpin, far less dramatic, but you know, everyone's going to be struggling in these conditions. And you know, when I say the exact same moment, check this out as we flick from one to the other off the road at the same time. We could not have timed that better if we tried at opposite ends of the circuits. That is quite funny. But anyway, as we continue on, watching on with Jester into the sweeper, and off the road sideways goes Jester, drifting it through the grass. Not quite the fastest way through. Look at the very unique windscreen wipers on the Corvette that sweep in towards each other. That's a little unusual. But anyway, We look on board rearwards from Banana, who drops in behind Ash and Joken, who are now a lap ahead. And now Ash looking for the move down the inside of Joken, and not getting that move done quite yet. Has to back out of it. But it's not been a fun day for Banana. Also started on pole position and now has dropped a lap off third place just recently. There goes Jester off the road again, so continuing to struggle in the Corvette is Jester, as I'm sure Tita's car is currently filling up with water. That little convertible not going to be suiting these conditions, or Roadster, I'm not sure which it is actually, but anyway, into the gravel trap goes Shadow as well. So Shadow struggling in these conditions in the other GT40, so that's 3 different cars we've seen off the road just recently, as these conditions are just getting worse. Here's the onboard with Shadow, just couldn't get it, stopped and turned at the sweeper, which is incredibly treacherous in these conditions. It is a very scary corner when you need to try and stick to the perfect racing line and try and match your speed right to do it, especially when that dry line starts to fall as well. But here we go with Ash and Joken once more. Is there finally going to be a change for position between these two? Ash getting into it and might be able to get this done on Joken. Gets through and up into second position. Joken not giving up though, round the outside into the hairpin. Can Joken fight back on the inside? Joken is trying to get there, bit of contact between them as Ash is up high and wide. Joken back through as they're going to drag race it down the straight. Ash with a good run, and Ash retakes second position on the exit. Beautiful run around the outside there for Ash, and carries good speed as we see off the road again for Jester in the Corvette. Still struggling with that car in these conditions. It's been a tough few laps for Jester as we look back to myself, a long way behind Jester at the moment, but we'll be closing in if these little mistakes continue, as we also see Shadow next up the road ahead of Jester, but remember, Shadow's more than a lap ahead of me. But anyway, we see Jester continuing to struggle with these conditions, and eventually just quits from the race. Here's the onboard, and with that off, has had enough and retires from the race there and then. So that's a shame. Was still running 8th, still had me behind him. But anyway, we continue on, and we have this ongoing battle between Ash and Joken. Joken refusing to give up this position without a fight, as the Banana Man is just watching on in the background. Ash hard on the defense now, so has gone from attack to defense on this lap, but manages to hold on to the position and holds down second position for Team Chevy as we head into turn 1. And look who it is. We've caught up to Shadow once again. I said we were alright in the wet, and now we might be able to make this move, and we've made that a little bit late across the grass, and we'll just about get a stop. We'll get ahead of Shadow, but that was a little bit sketchy on the way through, and a bit wide on the exit. Shadow's back around our outside as we head into the right-hander. We're not even fighting for position, we're on different laps, but neither of us have really got anything else to fight for, so we're going to fight with each other to the end here, as we run side by side, and we can't get us stopped, and we just about keep it off the barriers there. That was a close one, as we navigate the hairpin and try and get some power down again. We're once again in that tricky phase where we have a dry line forming, and Shadow pulls over, lets us go back through, and we'll go again. We can't get us stopped for the sweeper though, and we're off again. So this has been an awful lap for us, and there goes Sparrow through as well, who has made a pit stop but is now full lap ahead as we continue to race on. Here's a replay of how all that started, and yeah, swiping across the nose sideways of Shadow there. Lucky not to get ourselves into any more trouble with that one. And then, yeah, as we drifted a bit wide, Shadow was very well placed for a switchback there, and switchbacked constantly until he got back alongside. And then as we raced up to the hairpin, we just went too late on the brakes and couldn't get us stopped. So that was a fun little battle nonetheless, though, and we'll continue to to race on all the way to the end. Here's the onboard with Shadow for the for that little moment, as yeah, we slid across the track in front, and both managed to carry on after that one. But this is the absolute textbook definition of a switchback here under the Dunlop sign, and didn't actually get it done there, but set up the next switchback through the left-hander, and didn't even get it done there, but then we drove ourselves off the road. So yeah, good patient driving there from Shadow, and eventually got in front of us, but then immediately pulled over to the right, let us go back through, and we immediately went off the road after that. So yeah, little bits of a few clumsy moments there from me, but we'll continue to race on and have some fun to the end of the race. We're on board now with the Banana Man once again, running it out wide over the exit apron there, and a slide completely out of control backwards into the wall, and that is a big one for Bananoso, and yeah, that is going to cost a fair bit of time, unfortunately, for the GT40 that started on pole position, and things don't get a terrible amount better on the following lap as we stay on board, and we continue to watch the fancy wheel work, but unfortunately running off the road again, and having to catch it there. So yeah, it's not been a good couple of laps for Bananotto as we continue to race on, and we can't get us stopped for the first corner. Still struggling with that as we keep getting ourselves wide out into the wet stuff mid corner there. But anyway, there goes Shadow through, taking that position back, as we're also having to contend with blue flags at the same time. Shadow out high and wide though, out onto that apron, into the barrier there, and that is the danger. That's why we haven't been venturing out there, because it is so wet that far off the road. And that's the second driver in a GT40, not dissimilar to our own, coming a cropper there. So yeah, we do need to really watch out, as that is Tita going through, and there's a perfect demonstration of why you have to stay out of the wet stuff. As soon as we touched it, we just had no ability to turn the car, as we're pretty much closing into the end stages of the race now. For the leaders, there's probably about 5 to go, as we see that is Banana into the wall. And how on earth did that happen? We're on the back of Shadow once again, who slows down, moves across, and we have to try and skate around the outside. That was definitely overtaking while the yellow flags were out. But yeah, I don't know what Shadow was doing there. But anyway, Shadow's back in front, and we remain behind, as we did see Banana off the side of the road there. And big hit into the wall, and absolutely no steering response in that car. Very similar to what we saw with Ferbs at the Nürburgring. I think Banana had a wheel disconnect, unfortunately, and that was the cause of that crash, and now Banana Man is out of the race. So yeah, that's a real shame, and that's another one dropping out of this race. Only 7 left remaining, with Heafy, Jester, and the Banana Man out of the race. We look to Shadow, who is on the back of us, making the move to the inside, into the first corner, and we'll see if we can hold on to this around the outside, as we're very close. A little bit of mid-corner contact there, and Shadow gets through with that overtake, and immediately goes a little bit wide. Are we going to be able to get back underneath Shadow as he drifts all the way off circuit there? And that'll give us the position back. And we'll swing around the outside under the Dunlop sign and move ourselves ahead once again. It's not the position that we're fighting for, it's just for pride, I suppose, as we are on different laps. But this is all just for fun as we go wide there at the hairpin and line it up onto the straight once more. We're on the penultimate lap of the race. Only one full lap to go as we bring it into the final corner. We're ahead of Shadow in our little battle at the moment, so hopefully we can keep it that way, even though it's not for position. It's been a good little battle to keep things entertaining for the end of the race, as around the final corner comes John Teeter. It's been a good performance from Teeter. Qualified second, wins the race here at Tsukuba Circuit. Ferbs will cross the line to take a P5 just off the lead lap. And then round the final corner comes Ash, squiggling across the line with Jokin in hot pursuit. Not much separating those two all race long. And they had a great battle. Camaro comes out on top ahead of a Mustang. And then next around the final corner is myself and Shadow. Shadow gives us a huge hit up the backside as we head into the final corner. But no harm done, we managed to recover that pretty well, and we'll cross the line ahead of Shadow. Here's the onboard. Shadow completely loses control when we make contact, and yeah, that cost Shadow a lot more time than it cost me, but Shadow finishes ahead regardless, as it will be P7 rather for myself, and P6 for Shadow, as he has to recover from that moment. But cross the line for ourselves, P7, decent enough. Not going to affect our championship points though, with the P6 at the Nürburgring being our current worst. And around the final corner comes Sparrow to take P4, the last of the finishers here. And there we have it, there's the full results. To put that in a more logical order, it's on screen now. Teeter, Ash, Jokin ahead of Sparrow, then Ferbs, Shadow and myself, then the DNFs, Banana Man ahead of Jester and Heapy, the first to retire from the race. So that is where we all finished, and we'll be awarded our points in that order. But that brings the season to an end. Goodness me, that was quite a season, and I'm very curious now to see what the points look like after this round, because I imagine a lot has changed. So here it is, the final points analysis of the season, and as I mentioned, Ash had already wrapped up the title, so we'll look to the rest of the order. Teeter, second position, 94 points, jumps all the way up with a massive haul of points this weekend with the race victory and the fastest lap. And then I set it out the target at the start to try and maintain top 3 in the championship, knowing that Teeter might jump up, and we just barely do enough. 83 points, just one ahead of Sparrow. So I mean, realistically, that's all thanks to what happened at Bathurst when Jokin and Ferbs pulled over at the finish line. If it weren't for that, I would be 3 points shy of Sparrow on 79. So yeah, we were quite fortunate, and of course the mishaps at the Nürburgring for various competitors helped our cause as well. We gained about 8 additional points on that day. So yeah, a very fortuitous season, but obviously the major highlight was the first race at Daytona, bringing home the triple star, as we're calling it. Huge there, and Ash getting a massive 35 point score at the Nürburgring as well. So not the only one to bring home the big 35. Ash did the same, so that's massive as well. But yeah, other than that, we can continue to read down the order. Jokin just 1 point ahead of Jester, 76 versus 75, and then only 1 point between Ferbs and Heafy as well. So very close in the standings between all involved there, and then a little bit of a gap back to Bananoso on 63 points. Bit of a rough start to the season with a pair of 14 points. I think that's 10th place finishes in the first 2 rounds. So yeah, ever since though has been on the tear, trying to recover from that bad start. Unfortunately, didn't make it to the end. Otherwise, probably could have been much higher up the standings for Bananotto. But anyway, Shadow also taking 48 points. Again, a bit of a rough start. Only did 3 rounds, so didn't capitalize on every opportunity to score points. Most notably missing the round at Bathurst, as a lot of people did. But a good run in the final round to bring home 22 points at Tsukuba and bring that total up to 48. It's enough to beat out Artsy and Ren, who both did 2 races each. Artsy ahead, despite them having the same points. Artsy scoring a podium at the Nürburgring. Then those who only showed up for 1 race, Chevy for Daytona taking 3rd place there and 28 points. And then it was Duke who showed up for Interlagos with 16 points scored there. Also, just for fun, I created a little spreadsheet of some other stats. I've listed the drivers in order of total points scored. Ash still remains number 1, puts Sparrow up to 2nd, myself 3rd in this list. So yeah, it's just a different way of looking at it. If we, hypothetically, if we used a traditional point system of not dropping any races, but specifically focusing on Ash, 4 podiums, no pole positions, and 2 wins. Just massive numbers. Obviously the pole positions are good, you get a point, but the big points are on race day, and Ash won 2 of the races. When he wasn't first, he was second. When he wasn't second, it was at Daytona, where the Camaro was not the favoured car in the slightest, but still did a good job to bring home a decent result there and stay out of trouble and be there at the end when it mattered. So yeah, it's going to be very hard for anyone to beat that level of consistency. That's more than 30 points a round on average for Ash, 30.2. So yeah, amazing consistency from Ash all season long. And finally, I won't spend too much time on this one, but I decided to combine the statistics from both Trans Am seasons just to see what it would look like. Jester actually has the most points of anyone, just ahead of John Teeter and Ash. But what I wanted to focus on here, only 2 drivers have competed in every round so far. Obviously Jester is one, myself being the other. Everyone else has at least missed one other round at some point. But anyway, there's all the other statistics there if you're curious, but I'm not going to rattle through all those. But that is going to do it for this video and the final round of Trans Am Season 2, the World Tour. And that is it. So thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. I really do appreciate it. Please feel free to give some feedback in the comments. It's always very helpful. And other than that, I will see you in the next one. And goodbye.